I am still recovering from being sick recently, and I thought this would be a good time to film a how to look alive and rested and just feeling healthy when you're not, with the use of makeup. My skin has been prepped, and the last thing I put on it, maybe about 20 minutes ago, is this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I love this as a really thick moisturizer and also a primer. So I try and put that on as early as possible so it can really sink into my skin before I put makeup right on top of it. But there are 3 things I focus on when I want my skin to look fresh and healthy and glowy when I'm not feeling that way. And the 3 things are hydration, bright blush, and bright eyes. Those are things that just fake it so well. So that's what I'm going to major on today. I'm not going to talk through every step of the makeup tutorial, but I am going to talk about how I focus on brightening my eye area, making my cheeks look vibrant with a bright pink blush, and then I already told you I put this really thick moisturizer on first. My first step will be taking a little bit of MAC's Paint Pot in Soft Ochre and putting that on my eyelid. I like to use this as an eyeshadow base. You can either just use it and have that be what your eyeshadow is after you blend it away, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is put eyeshadow on top of it. This just evens out my eyelids, takes away any veins that you may be able to see, and creates a nice like double stick tape primer for my eyelids so the eyeshadow sticks. So that is how I've prepped my eyelids. I'm going to put my foundation on just while I'm here. This is the Becca Skin Love Foundation in Cashmere. This has been a favorite for a long time now. I like to apply it with my fingertips. So the best way to camouflage under eye darkness is to use a corrector. These are 2 of my favorites. This is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and this is the Bobbi Brown Corrector. The shade I have here is Porcelain Peach. This shade is light to medium. I'll show you how to do the Becca one. You would do the same thing with either. The Becca one has a little bit more luminosity to it, so it's gonna add some brightness under there. And I just like to press it in with my fingertip. The reason I'm using a fingertip and not a brush is because the warmth of my hand warms the product up nicely, and I find I can blend it in a little bit easier this way. You certainly could use a brush. I just prefer to do it this way. And you'll notice that I'm focusing this brightening product right at the inner corner of my under eyes. I'm not going all the way out here. I'll hit that with highlighter later, but for right now I just want to like shine a flashlight on those dark circles, and for me that is right next to my nose. Now a brightening corrector like that is not enough for concealer. It won't last all day for me, and it's not supposed to be concealer. I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Away. I have shade 1 and 2. This is 2 here, and I'm just dotting this on top of where I applied that concealer, and I'll go a little bit further out here. I'm sorry, where I applied that corrector. This is the concealer. Same thing, I'm using my finger to just press the product into my under eye area. And the last step I never skip with my under eye area is to put a little bit of the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder on top of my concealer. This sets the concealer in place, which works for me. This may not be a good choice if you have a lot of wrinkles or fine lines, but I also, same motion, I'm just pressing the brush and pressing the product in here. It adds a bit of brightness, and then it keeps my concealer in place all day, and I don't get any creasing or any other issues there. So that is my quick concealer routine, especially on days when I want to look alive and awake and refreshed. If I'm in a rush, I'll skip the brightening corrector part. I'll just do concealer and set it, but that brightening corrector is what's gonna make it look like I'm more rested than I actually am. I'm gonna blow through some of my eye makeup routine here just for the sake of time. If you want to see a more updated makeup tutorial, kind of my everyday thing, I'll put a link to my most recent makeup tutorial right below this video. Okay, so now that eye makeup is done, let's move on to the rest of the face. You can see there's not a lot of color or dimension going on here because there's nothing else on my face. I'm going to use this bronzer I've been loving. This is the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. The shade is light, and I'm grabbing a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to warm up the outside of my face. This does have a coconut smell to it, so if you don't like coconut, you will not like this bronzer. I don't find it to be overpowering. I think oftentimes like floral scent of things can be overpowering for me, and the coconut scent isn't. But yeah, just be warned, if you don't like coconut, you won't like this bronzer. Using a different fluffy brush, I'll pick up some highlighter. I love the highlight that's a part of this Film Star Bronze and Glow. Oh, it's beautiful. And I will hit the top of my cheekbones with that, the center of my forehead, down my nose, and then right at the top of my lip. This gives my face a little bit of dimension. I love that it's a highlighter without being like glowy. I don't like bright highlighters. The other thing I'm going to do with that highlight is use a smaller brush, pick up some of that same product, and press it right to the inner corner of my eye here. This is a great way to fake a few hours of extra sleep because the light will reflect there and it won't look dark and shaded in that area. And then anytime I want to feel like awake and refreshed, I always go for a bright pink blush. This is Blushing Bride by Tarte, the Amazonian clay. Let me grab my blush brush here. This is bright pink. So I'm going to focus it right in the apples of my cheeks. And I have a light hand so I don't overdo this. So to me, a bright pink blush is just the easiest way to kind of wake my face up. I like sometimes peachier blushes or something a bit more nude and going stronger with like a contour, but when I need to fake looking rested and healthy, pink blush is always my go-to. I'm going to grab an old favorite here. This is Morning After's, or Urban Decay's Morning After. We'll try it that way. A really easy, also pink lipstick, but it's sheer. This is the kind of lipstick you can kind of put on without looking. It's easy. Really a pretty pink, more on the cooler end of the spectrum than warmer, but I love it. I have a few of these tubes just in case they don't make it anymore. So that is it. That is the makeup look that I go to if I need to look way more rested and healthy than I actually am. So sorry you had to listen to my lost voice the whole tutorial, but I do hope this was helpful for you. I hope you're not sick anytime soon, but in case you are and you need to look put together, use these tips. Focus on brightening up that eye area, grab the pinkest blush you can find, and make sure you moisturize your skin really well. Usually when I'm sick, I don't drink as much water as I typically do because I'm just not thinking about it, especially if my throat hurts. So moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. You're likely dehydrated. So even using like a setting spray or a hydrating spray after you do your makeup, anything you need to put moisture back into the skin is going to help your skin look healthy as well.